Summer Game Fest it kicked off with its own thing on that first day. Well, it was a Thursday. And if I had to give it a theme, Mr. Black, it was space horror, because like 1/3 of that entire presentation was what flavor of space horror game would you like to play coming up in the next 12 months or so. Some of the highlighted games from that category were Callisto Protocol, which is like the totally not Dead Space game made by ex-Dead Space devs. So that was one. Aliens Dark Descent, and then Routine, which is the one that I thought looked the most interesting. They did a really interesting take on, the I won't say played out, but definitely tropey artificial intelligence or something like that, getting a little too intelligent kind of a deal. Very, very cool aesthetic, looked really neat, and looked the most interesting to me out of all of them, because the rest of them just looked like the same shit that we've seen half a dozen times already. Of course, we saw more Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Big shock on that one. Guess what it looks like, Mr. Black?
More COD.
Hey! You're good. Some might say a savant. But yes, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 looked like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. It looked shinier, for sure. Looked prettier. All of the old, fan favorite characters that had been in previous Modern Warfare titles before, they've all like stitched them together. The Mount Rushmore, Soap and fucking Ghost or whatever his name is, and the whole crew are back and better than ever.
Ooh.
Many of them who were already dead before, but now they're back. For this has got to be, what is this, the third Modern Warfare 2? Because we had the original, then we had the remaster, then we had like Modern Warfare 2019, and now we got Modern Warfare 2. But I don't know if this is the one with the number 2 or the Roman numerals 2, how they're discerning the difference between these. But again, like I said on a tweet, it doesn't matter. They're all the same fucking game anyway.
More Call of Duty, guys.
It's more Call of Duty. So you got some more of that. A surprise that has already gotten lots of great reviews since it was shown off, because it came out, I think, like yesterday or just a couple days ago, is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which looks really good, actually, and includes the ability to do 6-player mode locally and online. I don't know how you get 6 motherfuckers playing that game locally, but that sounds dope. And 6 online, and you can also unlock and play as Casey Jones, if you remember Casey Jones from the movies. It looks really good. It sounds really good. It's probably the game that everyone hoped the last Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game was going to end up being. That's what all the reviews seem to be saying thus far, that they have successfully made it happen. Some people even getting crazy, Jeff, saying Game of the Year nom. Getting wild. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles side score beat 'em up. Game of the Year. There you go. You can play that. You can play that whenever you so wish. The fighting game community also seems thrilled with how a Street Fighter 6 is shaping up. That was given its own kind of block. Not just in this, but also I think Capcom's own show, which we'll talk about here in a bit. To me, I'm not a fighting game guy. To me, it looks basically identical to the last 2 Street Fighter games, like 4, 5, and 6. If you just showed me a montage of like gameplay from 4, 5, and 6, I would not be able to tell you which one was 4, which one was 5, and which one is 6. But they're excited, so I'm happy for them. And the dev team apparently is feeling really good about it as well. And yes, Cammy, they gave Cammy pants. And so the neckbeards of the world got very upset about the fact that you couldn't see her labia anymore, even though I believe that old school outfit is also still available. It's just the one that they showed her off in originally. She had pants, Jeff.
Oh.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the big finish for the first day of the showcase was spoiled by Sony themselves, nonetheless. It was on one of their storefronts, accidentally put out before the show that there is a Last of Us Part 1 remake. Oops! That was supposed to be the show closer. And they, of course, went ahead with it anyway, because what are you going to do? It's a live show. And showed that off. And of course, Mr. Keeley was thrilled with the fact that the thunder of the end of the show was completely fucking stolen by Sony themselves, accidentally posting that on the store too early. It looks good. Some people are debating whether they like the new look or not. It's obviously far more realistic, like the part 2 that was released more recently. They completely reworked the entire game from top to bottom. So it probably plays better than the original did, and it certainly looks better from a technical perspective. Some people like the original look a bit more because the new look, it's like the new look just reached that point where it looks too real and it's too bland, whereas the old one still had a bit of style to it character-wise. But all the same, doesn't matter. Whether you play the old one or the new one, they both look good, they both play well. If you like it, great, guess what? You can pay $70 more in tax for another crack at The Last of Us Part 1. And I can't remember if they gave a time frame for that, but either way, you'll know. If you actually give a shit about this, you probably already know, because The Last of Us fans are rabid as shit. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Black, The Rock showed up at one point. To awkwardly ramble. I mean, and it was awkward. I don't know if he actually, I couldn't tell if it was pre-recorded or if he was literally just in the middle of a workout in his gym and just like, FaceTimed or whatever with the production team so that they could pipe his video and audio into the stream. But it was the most awkward ramble I've seen The Rock do in a hot minute, and I still don't really know what he was there for. It wasn't attached to any game. He loosely pitched Black Adam for a moment, and then of course held his fucking Zoa energy drink can in just the appropriate way and shouted out his energy drink, and then told like everyone, enjoy your gaming or some shit, and then signed off. It was fucking weird. It didn't fit in anywhere. I'm not sure why he was there. I don't know why they would have paid him to show up to do that. Literally did not cover anything game related whatsoever. But yeah, it was bad. At this point, The Rock is quite literally just a walking advertisement. Every time I see him, I just automatically assume he's going to pitch me his fucking godforsaken energy drink, and I already tune out. As soon as his bald ass head shows up, I'm like, nope. Here comes the Zoa, and without fail, there's the Zoa. Then, a couple days later on Sunday, we got Microsoft and Bethesda's show, which took a different approach this year, showing off essentially nothing but gameplay. Because last year, they got roasted for showing nothing but CGI. And so this year, they said, all right, fuck you then, here's all gameplay. So they showed pretty much exclusively gameplay for the 30-plus games that they included in the show. They also focused solely on games that are coming out in the next 12 months, so there's no, JPEGs of Elder Scrolls 6. Just games coming out in the next calendar year. One of the biggest announcements was Riot Games partnering with Game Pass to bring their PC and mobile games with all champions and all agents unlocked, and some more. That includes League of Legends, Valorant, Wild Rift, Teamfight Tactics, and Runeterra. So if you're on that Game Pass hype, that's pretty substantial. Just having access to all of the League of Legends champions right off the rip, all of the operators in Valorant, or agents in Valorant, is huge. And that was a pretty big thing that people were talking about for a while, because if you already have it and you're already somebody that plays that stuff on the side as well as like one of your main games, that's huge. Because now you can just buy your skins, not have to buy the champions. Or if you're somebody that doesn't give a fuck about skins and just likes playing champions and whatnot, great news. You get them all. It's the closest thing to Dota, because Dota, I think everyone's just available right off the rip in Dota, if I'm not mistaken, where you don't have to pay for any of them in that game. But in League, you do, because Riot likes their money. But if you have Game Pass, congratulations. Forza Motorsport is also looking particularly incredible. This is the new mainline Forza game, not Forza Horizon. They showed off some of that. They've got real-time ray tracing on the track now, and not just in like Forza Vista mode. Real-time weather affecting track conditions and more. It's finally looking like a proper mainline title, barring some sort of shitty microtransactions like they did in the last one or two. And that's coming in spring of 2023. But yeah, it looked really, really, really fucking good. It looked terrible on the stream. So you had to go and watch the 4K one and look at screenshots later, because the stream, of course, looked like doo-doo. But yes, it does look very, very good, and I'm looking forward to seeing some more of that in the not-too-distant future. Another fun thing that we saw at this one was that Halo's Pelican was added as free DLC. I think it's available today, or it was already available a couple days ago. They added the Pelican to Microsoft Flight Simulator. So people that have always wanted to fly a fucking Pelican, great news. You can do it. You can either, and it looked like, I don't know for sure, but it looked like you can even do like some just outside or like low Earth orbit flying and shit. It looked pretty fucking dope. Pentiment, a particularly unique medieval narrative game by Obsidian. Obsidian is the one that did Knights of the Old Republic 2 back in the day. They're also the one that did Fallout New Vegas. Looks like it could be a sleeper hit. Very unique game. A lot of people were talking about how unique and interesting it looked. And yeah, I think it's probably going to be one of those sleeper things that, you know, it doesn't sell 30 million copies, but for like the critics, it will be one of those, like, if you were to call it, it's an Oscar bait kind of a situation, I think. And then within the block of the show dedicated to the Xbox trying to work into the Asian market, Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal are all coming to Game Pass. Persona 5 Royal is first out later this year, with the others to be determined from what I can see. That's actually pretty big news because Atlus hates money, Jeff. I don't know if you know this, but Atlus, the developer, hates money. They actively avoid it, which means right now, during this crazy inflationary period, they're loving the fact that they're burning money because that's how much they fucking hate money. These motherfuckers didn't even put this shit on the Switch yet. For reasons I will never be... Literally the easiest money you could print is putting Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden on the Switch. You instantly make tens of millions of dollars. Easiest play in gaming history. And you know where it's going to go first? The fucking Xbox. Why? I don't know. It's not like there's enough Xboxes in Japan to sell more than 3 copies of this shit, but they're doing it anyway because they hate money. They're fucking weird. They're just fucking weird. They are also coming to Steam and PlayStation 5, I believe, as well at some point. But again, the Switch. No. Why? 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 Tell me why, Atlus. You don't make any fucking sense. Hideo Kojima also showed up in that block to say, hey, I'm making a cloud-based thing for Xbox. That was pretty much it. It was like 30 seconds of him on camera, just sitting there, being Hideo Kojima. Said, hey, string games. I'm making one for the cloud with Microsoft. And then we got Starfield, Mr. Black. Big old block for Starfield. That's the big dick item. That's, you know, that's the thing that when Microsoft bought out ZeniMax and Bethesda, that was one of those games where they're like, man, this is a big one for us, right? If you looked up mid in Urban Dictionary, there is a picture of Starfield right now on Urban Dictionary. And if there's not, somebody do it immediately. That shit looked middling as fuck. It looked... First of all, it's a good idea that they delayed this game because it is not finished. Not even a little bit. That bitch ran at 15 frames per second, maybe 20. In their own trailer. This is them showing off the best the game has to offer, and it ran at like 20 FPS on a good note. Lower in some cases. And it didn't even look that impressive. Like some, like interiors look pretty good. The lighting model looked good interior. You go outside, is aight, I guess. But rest assured, you know how I knew we were in trouble though, Mr. Black? I got a great chuckle out of it.
How did you know?
Thank you for asking. I know you're interested in how I knew, so thank you for asking. He was wearing the fucking bomber jacket.
There you go, man.
He brought it back out. Fallout 76's announcement bomber jacket was back on Todd's body, and he was pitching hard on that marketing shit, which told me immediately this game is probably gonna fucking bomb when it fucking comes out. And if it doesn't bomb, it will be because Microsoft forced them to put this shit back in the oven for another 6 to 7 months. Because, oh my god. So he's out here saying, oh, you know, he didn't come out and say 16 times the detail and all this other bullshit that he did last time. But you know what he did say? 1,000 planets!
Yeah, but there's only like 4 cities in it, right?
There's 4 main cities! And 1,000 planets! Why? Not even, dude, people complained about Mass Effect back in the day, which had like, you know, hundreds or whatever, where you could just scan the fucking planet because there was nothing to do there, right? Why do you think, from a narrative perspective, the odds of Bethesda going toe-to-toe with Mass Effect, I'm telling you right now, is negative 1,000. There's no shot does Bethesda outdo BioWare for narrative space shit with this game. Literally no chance. And you're going to try to spread this shit over in some capacity. Let's say 1/10 of those planets has literally anything to do on them. That's 100. What do you think you could do on 100 fucking planets in a Bethesda game? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, there's probably
Because
not a whole
4
lot.
of those planets have a city. A major city. They're hub worlds. There will be smaller cities, I'm sure, on other planets or like installations. But 4 of those 100 would have a main city. Why would you do that to yourself? And then he went out on social media afterwards because people, of course, when they see it, they're seeing the mining with like the laser and everything, and people are like, "Oh shit, this looks an awful lot like No Man's Sky."
Dude, when I watched the video, I had to do a double take because I was like, "Is this actually No Man's Sky?" Because it looked an awful lot like No Man's Sky, like the ships, the mining,
Dude, the
terrain,
animals kind of looked
animals, the scanning of things.
Yeah.
It was like, what the fuck? Okay.
So people are comparing them, right? And then, of course, that gets to Todd, and Todd's like, "Oh, fuck. I gotta say something now," because people are asking, because he didn't see it during the showcase. Can you fly from
No, you
space directly to the ground and ground into space? And
No.
Todd came out. I gotta get this. I wish I had the quote, but I'll give you the gist of it. Todd came out and said, "Look, you can't. You know why? Because the players don't care. So
We
it's
did a
not
research.
so it's not worth the development time to put that in for the technology." To which I said, "Nay, Todd. Most people playing this game would have liked to have the option of taking the ship that they built, which is the coolest thing that we saw in this entire video." You saw that part too, I'm sure, because you saw the gameplay, where you can make your own ship. Making your own ship is only cool if you can do a lot with it, like fly it. And so you can fly it to some degree. We don't even know if you can go from planet to planet or if you just set, like it shows in the game, like you plot your course and then you just jump to the planet and then you like click another button and then it loads the planet. Like I don't know exactly how that works, but you're not flying. You know, I don't think it doesn't look like you're doing hyperspace or anything. So you had like that really mid-looking space combat, which again looked no better than No Man's Sky. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're gonna do space combat and you're Bethesda, you need to make it look better than No Man's Sky. We're literally talking about orders of magnitude difference in size and money behind these games. Please God. But then you're gonna say that nobody gives a shit about flying down. Of course they give a shit. Here's the real answer. There's spaghetti monster ass fucking code that has been running their games for 20 fucking years, but they have been just Voltron bolting. But like Walmart Voltron bolting this shit onto the Gamebryo, then they rebranded Creation Engine, then Creation 2.0, whatever the fuck. This weird, you remember back in the day, Jeff, with like the Sega Genesis or the Master System, and then all the various things that you could bolt onto that bitch, and if you put them all on top of each other, it was like the Leaning Tower of fucking Pisa. It was like 400. That's the Gamebryo engine. That shit has been, the base of that bitch is Morrowind era, and it is crying. It's screaming, "Todd! Let me die! Please! Stop resuscitating me! I want to be dead! I shouldn't be here! It's unnatural!" And Todd's saying, "No! You still have more work to do!" And now here we are, and he's like, "Oh, it's just not worth the time." Your shit can't do it, Todd! It's impossible! Be honest! Don't lie! What the hell is wrong with you? Nobody cares about it? How fucking insane of a quote is that? So anyway, people were like immediately telling Todd he's high as a kite, which is not out of the norm. But yeah, what was your general takeaway since you did see it? I wasn't expecting you to have seen it. What was your general takeaway with Starfield?
I mean, I'm not as cynical as you are about it. I just think it looks more like a Bethesda Fallout type game.
I don't think it looks bad. I think it just looks mid.
Yeah. Well, of course, yeah. It does look
like
mid.
super mid.
I didn't see it and go, oh, "Wow, I can't wait to get lost in this Galaxy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I just didn't. I was just like, okay, all right, yeah, all right, cool, sure. That's pretty much it.
Which I think is probably bad in the grand scheme of things for them, because I think they kind of need this to be like,
yeah, they do. They need a home run here, but like,
Yeah.
the crazy thing is like, I think it'll be a home run.
it'll
Like,
still sell. Yeah.
It's gonna sell because like Bethesda fanboys and fangirls are just gonna buy the shit, and then they're gonna force it down your throat on every platform and every device. And
It
they're
ain't gonna be on the Switch, I can tell you that much, because it ran like doo-doo on whatever platform they were running it on.
the thing that's gonna save this game are the modders. The modders are
as
gonna
usual.
come. They're gonna come and they're gonna take this mid game, and in 2 to 3 years, they're gonna turn it into something that it's almost like Bethesda makes these games mid, and then they try and enable the modders the tools they need to make their game great, and they just put it out there. And for people like me that like aren't hardcore about these games, like I'm far more likely to play a version of this game in 2 to 3 years than I am to buy this on day one and deal with all the bugs and bullshit that is inevitable when it comes to this game. So, I'm not as salty about it, or I guess I wouldn't say salty, but as critical about it as you are right now. But like, I don't care as much probably as you do either. So like,
Well,
'cause
I don't
know-
like. I'm more interested in Elder Scrolls 6. Like, I'd be more upset if this was Elder Scrolls 6, because that's the game from them that I care about.
But that's what it's going to be the same thing. All right,
Well,
it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same.
Yeah, but
thing.
I don't have to worry about that yet. That's future me has to worry about that. The present me doesn't have to worry about the fact that that's going to be also probably mid. For now, I just have to think about the fact that Microsoft spent $12 billion or whatever on this company, and Starfield was a major driving force for that purchase. And if for the second time in Bethesda's history, they delayed a game. The only other time was Oblivion. And now they show this off. It's running at 20 frames per second. One of the fucking characters on the ground during the cutscene's head was on backwards, and shit's just fucking like blowing up all over the place, and it looks incredibly mid. Is probably not what they were hoping for. And it's not like Microsoft wouldn't have understood that was likely going to happen, because this game was already in development since 2015 or so. And so this is, started long before they bought them out. But
Yeah.
I don't think Mid-Thesda is going to be able to keep being Mid-Thesda afterwards. I think, Microsoft's going to want some really big dick energy coming out of these guys. I truly believe there's a shot that Todd Howard retires before Elder Scrolls 6 pops off. I think there's a non-zero chance that Starfield is Todd Howard and Pete Hines' last crack of the bat before this all goes away, because I think Microsoft you have to look at 76 and then look at this and go, okay, something's wrong here. What are the odds that it's the individual developers inside the company and not the management? Pretty much zero. So
we'll
see.
I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed. It was mid. It was
Again,
definitely
I don't
mid.
think it looks bad. I just think it looks
Dude, if the game came out today,
really average.
I wouldn't buy it. I just wouldn't care at all.
Neither would I.
Like,
that
at
was
all.
the sad thing. Like, I was like, man, I should be like, Bethesda doing a space game? This should be like really fucking interesting to me. But here we are. Like, you tell me 1,000 planets, okay, fuck that right out the window. Give me a single system, solar system, 10 planets. Knock those 10 planets out the fucking park. Give me handcrafted shit to some degree on all 10. Fuck your 1,000. I don't want to fly to... If I wanted to fly to random planets and shit, I'm playing No Man's Sky. Because all that shit's procedurally generated and you find cool shit. I could... like, whatever you think that you're going to have over there at Bethesda for 1,000 planets is a no. It's a hard no.
Yeah.
So just give me 10 really good planets if you're so focused on narrative. And then don't try and be Star Citizen, No Man's Sky, Elite Dangerous, EVE Online. Just focus up, Buttercup. I knew we were in trouble. We saw that bomber jacket, Mr. Black. I knew. I fell out of my chair when I was live streaming it. I said, oh shit, he's got the fucking jacket on. That's a bad omen. That's a bad omen. But there you go. Yeah, Starfield. Looking super mid. Hopefully they fix it up. At least hit 30 FPS, for the love of God. It's not asking a lot. Just 30 FPS, please. After that, we got Capcom, which was about, I think, 3 days ago now. Dragon's Dogma celebrated its 10th anniversary not long ago, and they have some sort of live stream planned for, I think, today. 3 p.m. Pacific time, I think. Today. Lots of people are hoping that there's a remake or a sequel to Dragon's Dogma coming. I don't know if the original sold enough copies to warrant that, but maybe maybe it did. They did do like anime spin-offs and shit that did well for the franchise, so it's a good chance that could happen. And so we'll have to wait and see what comes out of that little event. Then we just got absolutely, this is great news for you, Mr. Black, just plastered with Resident Evil shit. We got fucking slapped in the mouth with every piece of Resident Evil news a person could possibly ask for. Starting with Resident Evil Village, the most recent game. That's 8 in the grand scheme of things. Got a big block of updates, including the announcement of Shadows of Rose. Rose is the daughter, by the way, of the main character in the game, the base game. It's a sequel DLC, relatively large one at that, where you are going to be apparently playing as her, and it's quite a different experience altogether. Looks like it could be very good. Also, an expanded Mercenaries mode that looks to bring some sort of arcade horde-like mode to it. And lastly, they're adding a third-person mode so that you can enjoy Resident Evil Village much like you would have in Resident Evil 4. So a lot of people were kind of excited about that. Lots of talk on the Twitterverse that I saw about being excited to play it in third person over the shoulder, like you did in 4. I think it would look pretty good. It was great in first person. Resident Evil 4 did well in the over the shoulder, and so it's, a Village will probably also be pretty dope to have in that mode. Also, Resident Evil 4 is getting a flat out remake a la Resident Evil 2. And of course, once again, lots of people excited about that. Do I think RE4 needs one? No! But great news is there's lots of places that you can still play RE4 in its normal version if you so wish. That wasn't necessarily the case with Resident Evil 2, and so if you don't end up liking the changes that they're invariably going to make to 4 in this remake, then it's not the end of the world. You can still totally play the original in a million different places. But I would suspect that even though they have confirmed, for example, the over-the-shoulder cam is still totally a thing and whatnot, and they're making some changes. We saw what they did with 2, RE2. You played RE2 remake, didn't you? I thought you did anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, so you know the kind of changes they made for that. I think on the whole, positive changes. I like the result of the end of that. So I'm sure they'll do a pretty good job with 4 as well. Although 3 wasn't quite as much of a hit as the 2 remake was. So that is a thing that's happening, and apparently it's going to be out March 24th of 2023, barring any kind of delay, of course. And then lastly, we've got, well, not necessarily lastly, but for the Resident Evil stuff, we had Resident Evil 7, 2, and 3, those are the 2 and 3, the modern versions of those games, are all getting next-gen updates for the PS5 and the Xbox Series. They even released a Resident Evil Director's Cut with upscaled visuals, video filters, rewind, etc. to the PlayStation Store in like their classic games section or whatever they have for the PlayStation Plus Premium subscribers. So if you're on that program and you want to go and check that out, it probably looks pretty good. I'll have to wait and see. I haven't seen anyone that I know of that's played it yet. But that's my favorite Resident Evil. I'm not going to pay for the Premium Plus to play it, but I'm interested in what it looks and sounds like, and I'm sure it's quite an improvement for sure. And then lastly for Capcom, not that the Monster Hunter fans would need me to tell them, but the Sunbreak expansion to Rise is coming out June 30th. That's like 30% of my timeline in the last couple of days has been Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak news, people talking about it, and lots of excitement surrounding that. I think that also that's PC and Switch, so lots to get excited about there. Capcom is actually killing it lately. Sometimes you have to sit back and take it in, but sometimes you forget that Capcom's on a bit of a hot streak for like 5 or 6 years now. Like, they're doing it. They had a rough spot there for a few years. They weren't knocking it out of the park, and then, like, Resident Evil 7 happened, and it's like a new company fucking formed, and took over, and now they've been basically, batting nothing but winners, ever since. And so there you go. A reason to hop back into 7, 2, and 3 if you've got a modern console. Resident Evil Director's Cut, and then all the Village content that's coming as well with that DLC.